What up, you all? This is your man, Prince Solomon, and I'm here for not only a very quick dissertation, an eloquent breakdown, an essay, a dictatorial piece of memorandum about the album known as Chainbreakers. Now, I spoke with Sahmo, and he talked about this album that was supposed to be coming out, and he led off with this wonderful single concerning Freeway Ricky Ross. Of course, we're not talking about the individual down in Florida. We get it. You guys remember Freeway, a Philadelphia legend too, to be honest with you. But I feel with the likes of Sahmo in the making, in his own vestige, definitely adjacent of the Philly culture. I know traditionally Philly has to do with a lot of battling, a lot of street narrative tales, this, that, and third. And I'm not saying Sahmo doesn't touch on these things, but I do feel as it stands right now, rap music for certain types of individuals, particularly the men and women, there is a movement towards a form of ascension. Now, some of you all may say, what do you mean by ascension? This ain't no Stephen Halpern hip hop. Man, I don't want to hear no wushu rhymes. Don't worry, trust me. These are not those types of records, though. What I'm saying is there is a spiritual tribal freedom that I always sense, more notably recently with Sahmo. And not only that, much more aggressive, stellar production. I think the production on this album stands the test of time in the sense is that it can age coherently, and it's not so contemporary in a sense where it sounds dated. And this was something I was honest. I remember text someone, I told him, I said, you know what, man, I'm listening to this album. This is giving me a lot of victory lap level material because, listen, there's a couple rap albums that I will keep in my rotation, period, until the end of this planet, right? I will always keep 444 in rotation. I know how people feel, but I still think it's one of Jay-Z's best works, mature-wise. Then KD3, of course, but the King Disease trilogy, but that KD3, it was something about that like Nas ended it on a miraculous note. And then, of course, there's Victory Lap. Victory Lap is something spiritual, and I've seen its influence grow tremendously. And I remember when the album dropped at the time, I said it's a classic. Chainbreakers is of the same ilk and quality. From the Killmonger part 2, the opening of him sitting down and talking with his son and explaining the concept of a chainbreaker, right? Someone to change the generational curses. This is an anti-generational curse album. We have had so many various forms of media within rap and hip hop that was a part of reinstituting the generational curse. Whether it's people killing in the family, people doing different things with assault in different various ways, or just the idea of overly celebrating functional decadence and functional poverty. This album is not that. You know, this is not that, and it's not so much glamorous in a sense, like, I mean, I'm just being real with the other Rick Ross. Some of it came across pretty caricature, like you too can be rich. It's not one of those albums. A lot of this stuff feels very accessible and it feels very authentic. That's one of the things I do enjoy about Chainbreakers, and I enjoy the energy that Sahmo was bringing on Killmonger at the beginning, just even sitting down with his son to explain what's going on, even though we have the ability to be free. How so many people have different chains on their minds in America. Now, the track 2, Scared to Go Broke, and I'm going to say this very lightly. I want you all to really go through and check out some of these tracks, because some of the things that you feel you're missing right now, and I do feel the rap music, this is something that I talk about all the time, but rap music, it is so uninspiring right now. And I'm not saying you can't find wonderful artists. You got guys like Lute, you got Jid doing this thing, but I'm looking for something else. And I felt that when I was listening to those other albums that I mentioned, the same way I feel the same about Chainbreakers. Scared to Go Broke. He said on the beginning, what does a black man fear? Scared to go broke. And I made a post about that. I said, actually, yeah, there's typically for these black men and you know, these women as well, but he was speaking from a black male's perspective. You know, a black man scared to go broke among anything else, before anything else. You know, this is why you have some of the ideas of where certain folks have been compromising their spirit and soul for the almighty dollar that China is about to set to the side, that Russia is about to set to the side, but that's another story. Fearless, another knockout track. One thing I like about what I hear from Sahmo in this particular work here is a lot of drive and aggression. You can't help but be influenced. This is why I threw this album up there with the rest of the ones that I mentioned. It's very few albums that I personally do listen to that make you feel the way this feels. And this is that inspiration that I do feel they've wrestled out of rap music. You know, I mean, this is why you have those come to moments with NBA Youngboy. He's, oh my God, look what I've been doing. I've been having babies getting killed. That they had to have Phil Donahue sit next to him. So you have, can you hear me now? And again, Sahmo'S keep reinstituting family first. He's saying, I will kill for my wife. I will kill for my children. I will kill for my community. But it don't sound so cartoonish. It don't sound like, oh man, if they pull Sahmo'S card, it's fake. He's just talking about in the line of protection. And to be honest with you, the album reeks of divine masculinity. I know some dudes get tight. Oh, here we go. But you have to be honest with yourselves. We have been so used to the death of the man, the father. We've been so used to the death of the husband, the death of love by way of masculine vessels in the form of a nourishment and nurturing fashion. You don't get that here with that album concerning Sahmo with Chainbreakers. Flip that. Privilege, let me say this too real quick. I gotta say privilege because I enjoy Flip That. Listen, none of these tracks are skippable, so I want you guys, when you get a chance, go through. You can sign up on Spotify, you can listen to it, you can purchase it on Amazon Music. It's definitely one of those albums that I had to have in my personal collection as well. For motivation, we're dealing with a different time and era. You're going to need to be inspired by other things. A lot of the stuff that's out there, I tend to feel it reinstitutes fear. I'm not saying you can't go in there, but this is one of the reasons I always felt Meek Mill has lost so much of his charisma, is because he stopped making music that inspired people to come out the dumpster. Now I gotta go over here with Dr. Eric Thomas and just listen to him scream at me all day. But I love Dr. Eric Thomas's stuff anyway. But with Privilege, I'm going to give it to his wife, Sahmo'S wife, Texas Rain. Man, talk about a very commanding verse, a very commanding voice, and just the idea of wearing luxury, confidence, and overcoming your challenges in life. And then Sahmo delivers a wonderful follow-up verse because he know damn well, he said, man, I can't be dragging behind this one. So he came out there, they both got down, and they have a very interesting dynamic on the microphone. The Wolves freestyle, wonderful track in itself. Me Hoye, Outside is him celebrating. Options, again, that's another thing you will continuously hear as a message on Chainbreakers, is that you have options once the chains come off. Once you get off the Amistad boat, once you get out of the poverty mindset, the chains come off and you realize you have options. And the idea that he's even saying, look, man, I was able to make my 100,000. I was able to flip my 200,000. I was able to flip my 300,000. And I'm about to go back in again, is something that needs to be re-encouraged into the zeitgeist known as rap music and hip hop. And this will be something I'm going to cover in additional on No Simp Zone as well. I think this is definitely, as far as I've heard in independent space and albums, this is definitely one of the more important albums that I've listened to personally, especially for some of the things that I hear men and women of millennial mindset, Gen X mindset, and even some boomer mindsets, they've been complaining about. They have been selling you fear over and over and over, and that's one of the vestiges that Sahmo, and not only Sahmo, but his wife, Texas Rain, usually likes to break off on this album with Chainbreakers. Now, Chainbreakers, the self-titled track, and I just want to say this for 11 and 12, these are the last a couple of tracks here. Very, very emotionally resounding and inspirational moving tracks. Chainbreakers is a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful testimony to what Sahmo said he's been going through, where he goes with life, and the confidence that he keeps walking with. And he said something that was very important. And I thought about it because I text Sahmo. I said, man, this album is a really, really great album. I said, but he says on Chainbreakers, he said it's nothing to get inspired. He said, but it's to keep the inspiration is the struggle. And he talked about how he routinely had lost inspiration. He had to keep reigniting it, setting it back on fire again. And then Broken Chains is the final cap off of an otherwise, for me, perfectly put together album. And listen, you can go in if you enjoyed 444, if you really enjoy KD3, if you enjoy Victory Lap, especially Victory Lap, what Sahmo brings to the game along with his queen, Texas Rain, you will not be disappointed with this album. And I do feel the idea of keeping inspiration, we do have to attune our spirits and our ears, wherever your spiritual resonance is going to go. If your spiritual resonance will be fear, then by any means, keep listening to the next little drill rapper or post-drill rapper that's going to come out to reinstitute your fear when you walk past another black man on the street, or when you walk past a black woman on the street, or even when you walk past the police on the street. But if you have a spirit of confidence, and this is a very high self-esteem driven album, if you are in the business of elevating your spirit, elevating your self-awareness and your self-esteem, my man, my lady, Chain Breakers is the album for you. So for me personally, it's definitely going to stay in rotation. It's definitely going to stay on the soundtrack of, you know, the playlist that I have as far as just keeping you moving forward, no matter what you're doing. If you're throwing boxes, if you're delivering pizza, you know, what he's saying on the album is that it's step by step, no full house. Okay. So this is your man, Prince Solomon. I'm going to leave the information below. Support Sahmo', give it a listen. And like I said, you have to find the media, because media is occultism. Media has a lot to do with sorcery, alchemy. You have to find the media and the medium, because this is spaces of channeling, that is going to assist in you channeling exactly what you want. And if you believe in manifestation, if you believe in material wealth in the spiritual plane, if you believe in changing your environment, your energy and spirit, Chain Breakers is for you, shouty. All right, so I'm out. Y'all leave your comments below. Peace.
To this day, to this day.
You shouldn't turn your back on me.
Is that a challenge?
You either die a hero, or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
White folks are nosy. They have specials. Nosy specials. Why does a bee make honey? You ain't a bee. Why do you give a fuck?
You niggas are the bare minimum boys. To everybody talking, shut the fuck up. You niggas are mad because I'm on a list. I'm on a list that you stupid niggas are not on. Don't talk about anybody else in here. Everybody goes to work. Not like you Section 8 niggas. Everybody talking about the list that's not on the list. You have to ask yourself, shut the fuck up. Why am I not on the list? Niggas. Everybody works. Everybody. To whom it may concerns. To whom it may concerns. In note. Expletive. Sincerely suck my dick. Niggas.
Don't forget to subscribe to Thought Crimes and also our website www.thoughtcrimesworld.com and our Patreon. Peace out, everyone.